The views expressed on this Turnbuckle Tabloid live stream or Turnbuckle Tabloid podcast episode do not reflect the views, thoughts, or opinions of the Rageworks brand, including the Rageworks podcast network, Rageworks content partners, advertisers, and affiliates. Viewer and listener discretion is advised.
Hey, this is Jordan Oliver, and you're listening to Turnbuckle Tabloid.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0. All engine running. Liftoff.
Do you have a car? Do you live in or somewhere around a ghetto? Well, you're gonna need a GGPS. No, my friends, I didn't say GPS. I said GGPS, a Ghetto Global Positioning System. That's right, the GGPS will get you out of and through rough situations. Do you have to go to a certain area in the ghetto? Or do you know that the hood is going to be en route to where you need to go? Well, the GGPS can help you get there as quick and swiftly as possible. For example, GGPS, I need to get to the Soul Food Restaurant of Mama's at Malcolm X and First Ave. You sure you want to go there? Yes, Soul Food Restaurant of Mama's at Malcolm X and First Ave. No, I don't think you want to go there, though. There's another soul food spot that's right out of town. You need to go to that spot. There's other spots you can go to. No, soul food mama's spot. They have the best chicken around. I want to go there. Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm trying to help you out here, but I don't want to be standing outside, parked, and some dudes kind of run up on me and take my wheels and shit. Why don't we go to the one that's outside of town? I can help you out. Come on. Let me do you that favor. That's right, the GGPS can help you get through rough and tumble neighborhoods and situations. For example, GGPS, I like to go to Martin Luther King and St. Mark's. Okay, this is what you're going to do, right? You're going to go right down Bedford. You're going to take the left where you're going to see the kids playing dice. You go down 2 blocks and make the right on Myrtle. Once you make the right on Myrtle, you're going to see the guy who's a blind dude. He usually is drinking vodka. It's most likely Georgie. You're going to take it down 2 blocks, then make another right, and then you're going to see the kids selling K2 to these 3 bums right on that corner. Make that left, and bam, you right there. Gotcha, brother. The GGPS comes in all types of languages and dialects. Be sure to order yours now. GGPS. You can order your GGPS at Best Buy, Radio Shack, Walgreens, and at any other electrical and convenience stores. This is brought to you by
the regular season sportscast.
What's going on, guys? Rich here for Rageworks. Thank you guys for checking out Turnbuckle Tabloid, the hardest wrestling podcast on the Rageworks network. To find out more, visit us at rageworks.net and follow Turnbuckle Tabloid on social media.
It's Wrestling Rundown with Jay Santy.
Live from New York, it's
Turnbuckle Tabloid.
gonna do a quick synopsis. I know it's wrestling rundown, but I just want to do a quick around the square circle because I forgot I need to build up more storylines in here and headlines for the show. So most likely I'll do wrestling rundown on the next episode. But just a quick synopsis of around the square circle. My thoughts of what's occurring in the wrestling world. Got a jam-packed show this week anyway. Our boy Hank Flanagan stops in for Hank's Happy Hour. There's a lot to unfold there. Well, maybe I could do a little bit of both for this week. We shall see. We shall see. For this week's Around the Square Circle, I just wanted to talk about what I listened to, what I partook in, what I was watching. I've been catching up on the Dark Side of the Rings. Actually, once again, another splendid episodic series that's going on with Dark Side. It's unfortunate that it might be its last season due to Vice having their bankruptcy issues, and you only hope that the series could go somewhere else. It's unfortunate because you would think that a show that piggybacks itself on such horrific stories can be so entertaining and also be so educational. These past couple of weeks, I was watching the Graham story about Eddie and Mike Graham, the promoters, the father and son promoters, and basically the launching pad for Florida Championship Wrestling, where the likes of Dusty Rhodes, Magnum TA, and a plethora of other wrestling superstars came out of. Such a tragic story of a family of males who, rather than live life, found that their peace was by suicide, and it's such a horrific tale that really needs to be addressed. And for those who have the thoughts of depression and such, please seek help. And there's hotlines and there's organizations that can really, really help you through that. And please do that. Do yourself a favor, especially when it comes to the male demographic, because we're supposed to be such strong and unfeeling, not letting anything get to us kind of species. But in reality, we are bearing the brunt of many of our ills, and we have to thumper through it. And I've often told my male comrades, my friends, and my family that, you know, it's okay if you need a shoulder to cry on. It's okay that if you need somebody to lean on and to put a hand on your shoulder to let you know everything's going to be all right. Just be aware that there is help for you if you need it. I also was watching the Magnum TA story. I remember following him as a kid. I was maybe about 8, 9 years old. And that guy was on the fucking come up for real. And just that quick of a fucking instant, his whole career is done over a car accident. Just insane. And it goes to tell you, man, just be very cautious about what you do this day and age, especially with driving in bad conditions, and being very reckless and careless. Be very careful about that. The other episode I was watching was the Chris Candido and Tammy Sitch episode, and I already knew how loved Candido was. I just didn't really know how serious he took the wrestling business until the injuries started catching up with him, and the drugs and the alcohol mixing really started playing a part. And it wasn't until he got off of it and started taking wrestling serious again, where just one slip up of a trip where he should have just stood home and rested up caused him to have a brain aneurysm, and his life was cut short. And then you hear the story of Tammy. We've been seeing her coming in and out of the news every week, and it's been topsy turvy with her. So it's a sad tale, honestly. I haven't been listening to too many podcasts. The only ones I've been really listening to is Kevin Nash's podcast. Everything else has just been just the What Cultures and the Cultaholics. I haven't been too much on the YouTubers lately. I've been doing too much with my jailbreaking and modding of a PS Vita. It's a great investment. I'm telling you, I don't know what the hell. I got to a certain age where the classics have become the most fun for me, and I guess it's because there's a lot of games that I didn't get to play that I'm like, I might as well get the chance to do that now. So with that, the PS Vita has been a great investment for that. Makes a lot of emulation easier to work with. If there's anything I would tell you guys to go check out, get yourself a Vita. It's a long forgotten handheld, and now with the new upcoming PlayStation handheld, which is, I'm going to believe it's going to be trash. I think they should have just piggybacked and went back to the Vita. You could. There's a lot of stuff you could have done with that. You could have just upgraded it and just had a lot of fun with it. And a lot of modders have been having a lot of fun with it as well. So I would invest that. I finally run the SmackDown versus Raw ROMs on there. It took me a minute. It was taking me forever to do that, but yeah, I'm so happy. I forgot how good SmackDown versus Raw games were. Oh my god! Even on the PlayStation Portable, the PSP, I forgot how good those games were. It's so much fun. I'm really hoping that I could get the PS2 or the PS3 emulators. I could get those on the Vita soon because it's going to be so much fun playing those games on there, seriously. And other than that, that's been pretty much it for me. Just wanted to do a quick rundown of what I've been watching, what's been occurring in wrestling these past couple weeks. I know a lot of you guys have been worried about what's going on in WWE. And to me, I'm not. I've been okay with the whole displaying of the new belts. A lot of people are just upset with these belts, and I'm like, why? Why are you upset with the belts? And it's just angry. I mean, it's just really, really angry. What did you expect from WWE? They weren't going to go back to the old ways. They weren't. They weren't. They have the belts that they have as a branding product. When you see a big WW on a belt, you know what company it's from. The Denver Nuggets are about to get the new belts. That's the Las Vegas Golden Knights are going to get the new belts. And when they get it, people will know who gave it to them. It's the reason why the belts are done that way. They weren't going to make drastic changes to it. They took away the undisputed and the WWE title, merged them into one for the purpose of having to do away with carrying around all those fucking belts. Yeah, it looks cool when you're a boxer or a UFC fighter. You know, it looks fine. But after a while, you want to sit there and just lug around one fucking belt. It is what it is. The World Heavyweight title, it's not a bad looking belt. I think it's fine. It's a merging of the old title, the old big gold belt with a new look to it. And then the women's title, were you shocked that it was just going to be a smaller replica of the men's title? I mean, seriously, guys, it's not rocket science. And all this is new belts for people to buy. And then, you know, it's all It's all new belts to check out to see what it is. And to tell, new consumers, hey, you can buy this now. It's a new belt so you can put on your shelf. I don't see why anybody's mad. Any case, now really people are going to be really pissed off when the new fucking tag team titles are going to come out. That's where people are really going to lose their shit. I don't see it. Are they beautiful looking? Not really. But I'm still hopeful that people gravitate to it. And yes, I am going to probably buy my toy. Of course, I'm going to get the toy replica of them. I already have the collection that I have here. So I might as well just buy them. Listen, although the old man isn't around, the old man is still around. He basically just said, hey, you can change the belts, but don't change them too drastically. Don't go too crazy with it. And plus, they want to have belts that look like they're. Someone even said that they kind of look UFC-ish. I'm like, nah, that they don't look, because you could see the UFC has their octagon look, where this one is still looking like a title, like a championship, wrestling championship type of thing. Other than that, the Bloodline storyline for me is still intriguing. Some people are believing that it's running its course. I think it's just getting into high gear now, with the tension that's going along with the Usos and Roman. Solo is now a big part of it. He's not just the henchman. Now it's the battle to see whether or not the brother will fall in line with Roman, or will he find his way back to his natural brother. So that's the progressing storyline. On the other end, Cody is doing Cody things, where he's still fighting from the bottom. He just recently challenged Dominic to a match and Money in the Bank, which was a kind of curveball, because we thought that maybe we would see the third match of the trilogy with Brock, but I guess they're holding that off for SummerSlam. But Dominic is an interesting pairing with Cody. We are seeing the development of what's happening on the women's side. Charlotte makes her return to SmackDown, and of course, it's new belt. I want it. Yeah, she's back in town. So Asuka, the best thing that you could do is let her win, so she could win the championship, and then she gets pregnant, and then she rides off into the sunset, and then you guys could wrestle for that belt again. And then, other than that, I think everything else is still trying to be pieced together. I see the Karrion Kross and AJ Styles thing is trying to be a building block. I'm trying to piece that together to get some kind of run for that. We got the finalists for the Money in the Bank males. We got that done off with. I sneakily believe that Logan Paul is going to be added into this match. It's either he's going to be a seventh contender or someone's going to be taken out. Most likely the person taken out will be Shinsuke Nakamura. I think Bronson Reed was going to take him out. Not quite sure what's happening with the whole Alpha Academy with Maxine thing going on. I'm not sure if they're going to keep that together. Or they're going to repackage Maximum Male Models. Who the fuck knows? That has me perplexed. The Gunther and Kevin Owens match the other night was actually really, really good. I was very much pleased by that match. I was glad to see that those two were able to have a very heavily contested match. And on the flip side, I want to see what they're going to do with Austin Theory with the United States title. Does it help that he still has the belt? I'm not sure. I'm thinking maybe we can have him pushing forward, but we really need to get a legit contender for it. And it's still looking like he's they haven't found somebody yet that's going to bring some kind of energy to that title. So I'm interested in that. But other than that, lot of stuff happening with the NXT side as well, where we've seen a lot of the free agency popping up over there. Baron Corbin has been popping up there. Mustafa Ali was there. Seth Rollins was called out. It seems as though that they don't want it to be a minor league development promotion, that they really are stressing to put, that promotion as a legit promotion. I am interested to see how they're going to make that push happen. They are moving away from the kid friendly show somewhat, but I'm not sure if they're ready to take that next step to make it a little bit more serious like they did before. I think they're still fearful of that, but we shall see. And on the other side, we have AEW, whose Forbidden Door will be coming up next week. I'll be having predictions for that. Most likely I have a couple of people who sit in for that. Yeah, I'm confused by everything that's going on in AEW. It's almost like if I'm watching the show, but I'm not watching the show, because there's so much complexities that's going on with storylines and trying to find out how they're bridging together story arcs. It's just weird. Like the whole Blackpool Combat Club with the Elite and Eddie Kingston coming back, and I don't know. I'm just I'm confused. The Bullet Club Gold, adding the Gun Club, going up against one fucking guy, Ricky Starks. It's 4 dudes really going up against one guy. I don't know. It's I guess we're finally gonna get the face off where everybody's been wanting to see, Sting versus Chris Jericho. Okay, I'm on board with that. I guess if we couldn't get Taker versus Sting, we could get fucking Jericho versus Sting. We'll get that dream match going on. The perplexing story now with trying to pull Guevara away from the Jericho Appreciation Society just because he's having a kid, and you're making they fell into the bullshit trap of now having them announce that they're expecting a child, and automatically that turns them into a face. Okay, is this what we're doing? I don't know if they wanted to do that or they just they were face first to deal with that because of them dropping the ball on them. You're supposed to be obnoxious assholes about it, but I don't get it. Sometimes they book themselves into a corner and don't even know that they booked themselves into the corner. Then I saw the 8-man tag. That match was all over the place. Keith Lee looks like he's just not the old Keith Lee that we knew from before. it's you actually had a bigger match that you could have had leading in after the Pillars match. The Darby versus MJF thing could have been a stronger push, but we're throwing Adam Cole in the mix. And I'm sorry, I love Adam Cole for years, but when you see him standing next to MJF, it really looks like a man fighting a boy. And that's just, it's awkward. It's awkward. They had a solid match, and I really enjoyed the finish where the 30 minutes were up right before the 3 count could be set. And it was smart because they didn't have the clock running. I thought it was very smart that's for them not to do that. But yeah, I think they dropped the ball. The Adam Cole thing could have possibly happened later on down the line. We could have probably seen that come off with Cole having maybe another feud after the Jericho one, that short one. Now with the buildup that's happening with Collision, I really believe that the show is destined to fail, and I think they're really going to have it destined to fail and make Punk look bad, since he is the face of that show, supposedly. We're already seeing that ticket sales aren't doing well for these events. They're burning out towns in Canada. Ticket sales are looking horrendous over there. You're charging extraordinarily amounts of money for the tickets for these shows, and you're doing back-to-back shows. It's like 3 shows in Toronto, and you're having a taping of Collision that's running at the same time of Dynamite. It's outrageous. You're burning out towns by doing that. You expect people to sell kidneys just to go to these shows. You got Chicago back because you finally made the announcement that Punk was going to be there. And do you think that this is going to continue? It's poor booking. And then now they don't want to make any announcements about anything upcoming because they want to play it by ear. This is their bullshit. Because now they're also running their house shows, and no one on the house show is going to be worth the money to go pay to see. It's magical. It's magical fucking booking. I don't understand it. Many even insiders say that they don't get it either. But we shall see from here on out how AEW is going to formulate this. We are, like I said, we have Forbidden Door coming next week, and I know many people are excited about it. I am excited about a few matches that's on the card. The Danielson versus Okada match I'm interested in seeing. I want to see the Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay. Hopefully we get the Kenny from Japan in this match. We got that guy. Why did Jungle Boy take the open challenge from Sonata? Somebody had to take it, I guess. MJF said he's not taking Tanahashi's challenge. He says he's not doing it, which we know he's gonna end up doing it anyway. Orange Cassidy is taking on Zack Sabre Jr. Okay. Fine. I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna see it. I'm just, like I said, a lot of this stuff is just confusing to me. Like I mentioned, it's like I'm watching it, but I'm not watching it. It's I don't know. It's a blur in my mind. But other than that, gonna wrap it up on this, and we'll get it to around like I said, that fucking AEW just blurred my head. Wrestling Rundown on the next episode, we'll get it from there, because we had a lot to talk about with Hank this week. Much to talk about on the table. We actually did talk about his thoughts about indie guys, of today as opposed to indie guys of the past, as well as how important looks, gimmicks, and gear is, and how we believe that some of the indie guys who are starting off are afraid to take chances in wrestling, especially coming out the gate. So you guys are going to love that conversation. So don't go anywhere. Stick around. Much to talk about. See you guys in a sec.
What's going on, listeners? This is Kyle Davis of the NWA, and you are listening to Turnbuckle Tabloid. You're making smart choices. Thanks for doing that. I need you to do it. Follow me. Follow them. We got this, baby.
What's going on, everybody? Tony G here, better known to the world as Josie's Boy, aka your girl's favorite artist. And today I'm here to tell you about my company, Painted in Blue. Painted in Blue is a creative house established in 2017, and we specialize in handmade custom leather goods. We coined the term luxury minimalism because we believe even in your everyday life, no matter how much running around you have to do, you can still stand out and be fly. We create everything from luxury handbags to wallets and some of the best leathers you can find that you would love to carry on a day-to-day basis. So if you believe in looking fly while you handle your business while pushing fashion forward, make sure you guys go to paintedinblue.com. Don't forget to follow us on social media at _paintedinblue on Instagram and on Facebook at paintedinblue.
For the new listeners of the podcast, Hank Flanagan gets in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Hank's happy hour.
No, you're not supposed to do that.
It's coming. It's here. What do you mean? It's not. I'm not supposed to do that.
We're just supposed to talk, and then like 20 minutes in, introduce the show. You go right out of the bat. You're swinging for the fences.
I've done a lot of format changes to the show. The past,
really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I wanted to have something
today, Junior.
I wanted to have something different come from the show. I've been following the same format for like the past, 6 years.
So you wanted to change because you wanted to change, or you felt like I needed, because that stuttering doesn't sound like a confident, well to put together person.
It's fine. I'm okay with that. And I am
Are you uncomfortable with the change?
No, I'm not actually.
Why?
Because change is inevitable in certain instances. And when it comes to wanting to bring something fresh to the table, you want to do some changes, and that's what happens. I wanted to bring something fresh.
So you're changing Hank's Happy Hour?
Yeah, I'm going to change it now to Miserable Hank's Loathing and Depressing Hour. I want to do that one.
Well, yeah, Hank's Happy Hour. That's what Hank's Happy Hour is about.
I bring this up because I thought about it the other day where I said, Hank's been doing this for, as long as I've had the podcast.
It keeps me in the industry.
Right. And I said, I don't think the new listeners would know, like, why the fuck did you want to wrestle? Why did you choose to sit there and want to slam your body up against?
Because I'm a glutton for punishment.
And grab up on greased up young men and old men. And
if that's what you're looking at, I always thought it was a fight.
Half naked.
You would, I never thought about that. I always,
sweaty. And
when I was in the 4th grade, I remember this kid, Joel Fernandez. Fuck you, Joel. No, he was, God bless him. God bless Joel Fernandez. But I was just like, yeah, if you're a wrestler, who would you want to be? And he's like, first of all, and he was a wrestling fan. He goes, I wouldn't go out there in my underwear and start wrestling. I was like, I never thought about them being in their underwear, you weirdo. Like, that's the first thing you thought about, like dudes being in their underwear. Like, I always thought it was a fight. Like, I never thought about I always thought the clothes were cool. I always thought like Macho Man's attire. I was always a big gear mark, but I never he's half naked. I never thought about that. I was just like, well, this is his work uniform. Like, this is what he wears to work. What I always thought too. What I always hated. Back in like the mid-90s when Raw is War, it was like they just put enough money into a big screen, the Titantron they called it,
right?
And wrestlers would walk down to the ring in regular clothes,
in their street clothes,
like in their street clothes, and maybe they just didn't have the budget for like T-shirts, and branding. But I thought it was so cool that Shawn Michaels came out one day wearing like a Homer Simpson T-shirt, like half cocked out of his mind off of God knows what, like talking to Stone Cold, and it was just like, this is so it's because it seemed so authentic. And Chris Jericho made a point one time. He says WCW's undercard, the cruiserweights, which was my favorite. WCW Saturday Night was one of my favorite wrestling because it was like all my favorites. Eddie Guerrero, Chris Jericho, Benoit, Malenko, Rey Mysterio. Those were my WCW guys. WWF's main event, that was, if you combined WCW's undercard and WWF's main event, you'd have the perfect wrestling show. Perfect. It was perfect, right? WWF's main event, you had killers like Shawn and Brett and Undertaker and Stone Cold and Brett. I'm sorry, but the Hart Foundation of 97 could whip the NWO's ass. Whip. Like one of the greatest, I think the 3 greatest pay-per-views. Number 1 was, I think, WrestleMania 17. I can't remember number 2. I really want to remember number 2. I really want to say it was like One Night Stand, the first One Night Stand. But the third one,
you're talking about the
first the ECW,
yeah.
like that was and I think the third one was In Your House, Canadian Stampede.
I was about to say which one. It's like
Canadian Stampede.
Are those Beware of Dog?
Beware 2, Beware of Dog 2. No, the In Your House. I was a kid during In Your House. It was my favorite pay-per-view. That was my favorite, In Your House.
All right, I mentioned I said that the host grabbing half-dressed men wrestling and you're talking about the gear. It goes down the line because my brother recently purchased it's from this company that makes authentic designer wrestling attire, and he bought a jacket. It's a really nice jacket. It has Ric Flair on it, and with it,
Chalkline.
I don't remember the name of it, but with it came trunks, wrestling trunks.
Oh,
and it's the Ric Flair wrestling, and he and I were laughing because I was like, dude, you're gonna have such sexy time with the missus when you wear that to bed. It's gonna be awesome. The figure 4 legs like you're gonna be putting on her, and we're laughing. So I showed the trunks to one of my coworkers, and he goes, man, those are panties, man. They ain't no damn. I said, no, they're wrestling trunks. No, man, those are panties. Those shits is panties. I'm not putting them shits on. Those are panties. So then when you said that wearing underwear, and I'm like, yeah, I could see that. Like, you mean to tell me that you didn't, like, when you fell in love with wrestling, that you didn't wrestle your cousins and all that? You guys were in your skivvies and your Fruit of the Looms, acting as though like you have a Macho Man. And
when I was doing backyard wrestling, I'll never forget this. I went down to Kmart. Remember Kmart?
Mm-hmm.
And there were these awesome Guns N' Roses pajama pants. And this is like when, for some strange reason, back in like the early 2000s, like right around 2005, they like, I think as heavy metal was turning, or that time it was like
soft.
20, like no, it was like 20. It was 20 years old. The nostalgia, the first millennials were becoming, I think, 25. And so the nostalgia generation kind of kicked in, and like Hot Topic was selling like old band T-shirts. So I bought these Guns N' Roses pajama pants, and I was like, I'm gonna wrestle, and this is my attire. I wore them everywhere. I wore them on the bus. Like, I was such a dirty kid. I wore them on the bus. I wore them everywhere. Like, they were so cool. I was so sad to see them go, because, to me, they were cool, and that was the most important. Did you not see Family Matters? Steve Urkel was like, I like myself, and that makes me cool.
Speaking about like gimmick and gear, right? I was I was at a company's student show. You know the company very well, and I was at their.
How are they doing?
They're doing all right. They're doing this. They're still all right. There's certain things that's going on over there that I'm like, but other than that, I was at the student show.
I wish them success.
And all the wrestlers, well, the majority of the wrestlers that were at the student show, they looked the same. Everyone looked the same. And one of the guys after their match, I'm at the doorway, and the guy comes after the match, and he comes up to me. He's like, hey, what you think of my match? I said, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think you did well. The only thing that really bothers me is you need a gimmick. You need a look. You might want to get into some kind of investment in your gear, because all you guys are coming in and y'all all look like y'all from the corner. Like y'all just came from Crown's Fried Chicken and about to light up an L. Like y'all all look the same.
Jesus,
you got to fix it. So he goes, yeah, I was thinking about that. And no sooner than I said that, promoter comes up, walks right directly to him. Mind you, like I said, he was off doing whatever. He just walks up to him quickly and says, yo, bro, what you really need to do, you know what I'm talking about? You need to invest in some gear. I looked at the guy, I said, now, mind you, this comes from a person who's not supposed to know anything about wrestling.
Okay. Stop.
But
Stop.
Just saying.
Stop.
Just saying.
Stop. There's certain things that you have no right speaking about.
Stop. But wait.
Stop.
Stop. Okay.
But there are certain things that you absolutely have every right to speak about. That being one, because as the consumer, the paying customer, you have every right to critique, dislike, or criticize whatever you want as the paying customer. And if you say, hey, this guy's talented, but he's not appealing to the eye in a visual art, you also have to feel comfortable in your own skin. And a lot of times people could feel that, right? So for whatever, like Stone Cold Steve Austin, for example, right? His investment in gear was probably very, very cheap. Even the different colored letterings on his vest, like so like some of it was like bulletproof or alcoholic, or you know what I mean, like redneck, right? It was still very, like, his look was very plain. It was black boots, black trunks, you know what I mean?
I think he said the most expensive thing that he had was the chain, and that was because
Brian Pillman got it for him, right? Right. But otherwise, like, it was very simple and it looked good because it fit him. Like, I am not a colorful guy. I am, what you see is what you get. Shawn Michaels, who has a very colorful style. Randy Savage, very colorful style. Bret Hart even had a very colorful style, right? Very, very, like, Bret Hart, the excellence of execution. Like, pink is a very bright color. Bret Hart's style was very bright. You know what I mean? His energy was bright. Pink is a very bright color. Black, the seriousness of Bret Hart. I'm serious. Black, but pink. Exciting. I'm excitingly serious. Shawn Michaels, like, obnoxious. His colors were so, even the red, even when he was wearing black, the colors in the black were just very obnoxious. It was always like, the pink, or the red candy cane stripe. It was like, whoa, that's obnoxious. Randy Savage was crazy. So his colors were crazy. Jake the Snake Roberts' gear was very apropos to the story that he was telling. You know what I mean? It was Hulk Hogan was he was a billboard. Red and yellow are the colors of billboards. You know what I mean? Like McDonald's is red and yellow. And the Soviet Union flag, red and yellow. You know what I mean? Like
that was it. That
like
was the reason
red
why
and
he
yellow.
wore it.
Red and yellow is a very great color scheme. Who else had great gear? Eddie Guerrero. Flames on his gear, heat. You know what I mean? Fire, like very, very fiery. I liked Eddie's gear. Whether it was the flames up the side or Sting, but Sting
early days
Sting. He had a California look. The flat top. He was a surfer, right? And then it was like the Crow, very, very dark and very mysterious, right? Rey Mysterio, very, very colorful, right? Because Rey Mysterio, bro, he can't really talk, like. And I like Ray, and Ray's so exciting, but like,
You mean when you talk about my son Dominic? It's my son. When I battle my son in WrestleMania, I'm going to take you down, Dominic.
Yeah.
Oye, cabrón. I'm going to take you down.
If he was speaking like that, his promos would be great. Yeah, CM Punk, right? CM Punk, CM Punk is a comic book nerd, right? He's a nerd. So what he does is, it's all very throwback.
Gargano.
His gear is very throwback. It's just like, oh, I'm in Chicago. I'm wearing the Bulls colors, or I'm wearing a comic book color. I'm wearing a GI Joe gear. You know what I mean? I'm wearing pink and black because of Bret Hart. Things like that. Who else has great gear? Ric Flair. Very very plain. But it didn't matter that
the robe said everything.
The robe said everything. It's like, I'm making my entrance. I take my clothes off. This is okay. Because at the end of the night, when I slap on the figure 4, this is all coming off, baby. Woo! You know what I mean? But his hair, Roddy Piper, the kilt, you know what I mean? Who my ethnicity, my ethnic background is who I am. You know what I mean? All I needed was a t-shirt and a kilt, I'm a wrestler, you know what I mean? But this is the kind of wrestler I am. Rick Rude was his gear was extremely obnoxious, which is kind of funny because
airbrush.
Rick Rude, God love him, was a legit tough guy. That was people were just who's two guys, who's name Haku's always number 1, right? Meng. And then right after, right under that, right under,
his Rude.
Is really Rick Rude? He's yeah, I would never want to fight Rick Rude. A lot of people are just yeah, I would never ever step to Rick Rude, because Rick Rude will break your jaw. And he was never he never caused, people just knew Rick was a real one.
Yeah,
people just knew Rick, and Bret Hart, God bless him, said that Rick Rude was the type of dude who, although had a gimmick of kissing ladies, never took his wedding ring off. Wasn't the guy he portrayed on camera where it was I'm this ladies' man. It was just no, I'm actually a family man. He once actually asked Stone Cold Steve Austin not to take the Lord's name in vain.
Yeah, right.
He's don't take the Lord's name in vain. He had morals and playing a character, as we were speaking about before, playing this character. No, God bless Rick Rude. So, John Cena, right? John Cena was very of the time. Didn't change much of his look, because it worked so well. So you can't really, he fit, you know what I mean? But when you look like,
his kit was expensive because it had to look like street clothes, but it definitely wasn't.
No, yeah, it had to look like street clothes, but it wasn't. What sets people apart now? You know what I mean? What sets people, what makes someone different? Come on, Seth Rollins, and right behind him would be Cody. They have the best gear.
Right now, yeah.
Yeah, Yeah, Cody, really the hero. He does. Seth Rollins has really good. It's Cody, they both look the part. You know what I mean? Roman didn't, Roman has terrible gear, but he knows he does. That's why he wears it. It fits his character. You know what I mean? It fits his character. He knows he's on top. He knows that, for a while, do you remember when the Rockers broke up and Marty Jannetty was still using the Rocker theme?
Right. Yeah.
It was Roman was still kind of using the Shield theme. And everybody's no, it's Roman's theme. It's no, it's the Shield theme.
Yeah, because they weren't quite ready to give him his own theme as of yet, something separate.
Which is kind of funny.
Which, by the way, if you listen to the Shield's theme, is actually Taz's theme.
Dun. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
It's slowed down. That's just all it is.
So the wrestling, is Randy Savage once said, the match doesn't begin when the bell starts. The match begins when your music hits. That's when the match begins. Segment, people forget that. And it's athletic theatrics. It's supposed to be this huge comic book fight. It's just it's a comic book come to life, pro wrestling. And do you remember that episode of The Simpsons where Frank Grimes comes in? It's just how a real person would react to Homer. Pro wrestling's the same way. You have characters in pro wrestling that are real. Brock Lesnar is real, right? And I know you hate Brock Lesnar, but because Brock Lesnar is and I understand why, because Brock Lesnar, by his own admission, is a bully. He admits it.
Yeah.
I remember one time, and I'm so glad he said this, because really, what are you going to say to Brock Lesnar? And a lot of people can't fight Brock Lesnar. There are people who can, but most of them, aren't walking the earth. But he goes, Stone Cold was just like, yeah, were you bullied as a kid? And he goes, nah, I was the one doing the bullying. And I was like, I was with a buddy of mine. We were like, yeah, no shit. Like, duh. Like, yeah, I was the one doing the bullying. It's like, look at you.
You were 6'3" in 8th grade.
Yeah, like, yeah. It's like, yeah, I was the one doing the bullying. Like,
yeah, that's also still a douchey thing to say. But
yeah, but like, I remember when he fought Mark Hunt. So when he fought Mark Hunt, he goes, it's like, hey, Brock, why'd you come back? And he's just like, yeah, I love sports entertainment. I love pro wrestling. But he's like, I'm just a big bully. Like, he's like, I'm just a big bully. And, I should just go get paid for it. And it felt good to bully somebody again. It was just like,
yeah,
like
you should have said that to Cain Velasquez and fucking.
But if you notice, Brock does fight like a bully.
And what's it?
When bullies get when Brock gets hit, Brock hates getting. Everybody hates getting hit, but Brock hates getting hit. Conor McGregor, will walk into getting punched in the face. Brock Lesnar gets punched in the face. He's like, oh my God. Nobody does that. Like, because nobody does that to him. Conor McGregor was bullied as a kid in Ireland, right? He had a bunch of people bullied him, right? He knows what it's like to get punched in the face. Brock Lesnar does not really know what it's like to get punched in the face. I mean, like, you could probably count on maybe 2 or 3 hands how many times Brock, because he's a fighter, how many times Brock Lesnar's actually been hit in the face where he's just like, whoa, holy shit. Like, I can't bully this guy the way I want to bully him, right? So every time when Kane's hit him, when Alistair Overeem hit him, even when Frank Mir, like, oh, I got Randy Couture, like, oh my God, I got hit. Brock hates getting hit. When Brock gets hit, he's just like, I don't know what to do. He like, do not compute. Habib Nurmagomedov doesn't like getting hit either. Doesn't like getting hit. That's why he circles. He knew McGregor was the hardest fight to have, right? Because he circles away from his left hand. Circles away from the entire time. Brock Lesnar does the same, not exactly the same thing, but he avoids getting hit. Brock Lesnar, right, stands up for, he knows enough boxing where he's like, oh, I could stick and move, but once this guy makes a mistake, I'm shooting in and I'm going to know what I do is to wrestle. He knows how to wrestle. He's a Division I, heavyweight NCAA champion. That's excellent. It's the best. It's the hardest wrestling title to win. Wrestles him down and he beats him up like instead of just punching him in the head. Imagine if you revert back to him being 13, instead of punching somebody in the head, he puts his finger in his mouth and like sticks it in the air. That's what brought instead he's just a grown man now and I'm making millions of dollars punching this guy in the head, right? That's what he does. That's exactly how he's fought. He wrestles somebody's down and he's like, I'm beating you up, and that's how he's won his fight. You know what I mean? That's how he's won all of his fights.
Beat you up, nerd.
Yeah, exactly. Beat you up. You know what I mean? But when he gets hit, it's like, oh my God, I can't get. You know what I mean? I can't get hit. But Brock, to his credit, I remember sitting, and I like Brock Lesnar a lot. Brock Lesnar, I remember I read parts of his autobiography and how much disdain he has for pro wrestling. And years later, I'm watching, I think the segment with Seth Rollins, such a great segment, because it's like Mommy and Dad, was when Triple H and Stephanie were like, hey, we're going to give you a challenge, and it's Brock Lesnar, and it's like Mom and Dad are punishing him. He's like, uh-oh. And a buddy of mine, he makes a good point. He's like, yeah, he says he hates pro wrestling, but he goes, but make me look cool.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I hate this stuff, but make me look cool. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, look at all awesome music, pyro, cool t-shirts. He's like, yeah, I hate this, but make me look cool. Like,
we can't. You have a tattoo with penis on your chest.
It's a knife to his he said it's a knife to his throat.
Oh, I know what it's supposed to be, but I'm just talking about what it looks like.
He has listen, you can make fun of that. The guy has a tramp stamp.
That's the biggest one for me that really bothered me. The tramp stamp. That's the one that did it for me. That was the.
It's not even like a cool tramp stamp where it goes up his back and it's like a little tramp stamp.
Doesn't Batista have one as well?
Yeah, but Batista is one of them guys that goes around like this.
That does what?
Guys that goes around like this.
It goes around like this.
You ever see Borat? Borat's Borat.
Yeah.
Like I hate the second Borat because it seems so. What's the proper word?
Useless?
No, it's exploitive. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're, it's very redundant. It's like, but like Borat was so fresh and so great, right? Borat was like, it exposes people, where it's like the guy, it was right after, it was like post 9/11, and the guy was just like, when he goes in for a kiss, right? And he goes, no. And he was like, you can't do that here. And he's like, what do you mean? And he goes, no, because people would think you gotta go around like this. And he does like a limp wrist, and he's like doing this, and he goes, oh, and Borat's getting it. He's like, oh. He goes, he goes, and if we go, in my country, we take them out back and we finish them, right? And the redneck goes, I'm trying to get the same thing done here too. Yeah, and it's just like he exposes him, and it's funny, and it's just like when he's on Sacha Baron Cohen, he's on, but when he's off, it's like, ugh. It's kind of like the creators of South Park. You ever see Bruno?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so Bruno, yeah, it's funny, but here's the difference between Bruno and Borat. Borat's kind of innocent. Borat doesn't know about America, right? He's coming to learn. He's like, he's coming to like learn about America. He doesn't get it, you know what I mean? Like he tries earnestly, right?
Bruno doesn't get it either.
No, yes, he does. Bruno knows about America. Bruno knows about America. He just doesn't care. That's the thing. Like he doesn't when he's like out in the wood with the rednecks, right? He goes, "Oh, I'm just afraid that somebody might, violate me at night." And then one of the rednecks like, "You ain't the only one." This is like, you ain't the only one. And it's
only when Hank the segment would transfer from wrestling to Borat.
Pro wrestling.
Yeah. Actually, I wanted to double back.
It's what happy hour is.
I wanted to double back to the gear because of how this day and age the up and coming wrestlers, they aren't as invested in their gear. And when you came into the business, I knew you had mentioned before, like the first thing that you were really looking forward to get was your boots.
Oh yeah. And I remember I spent $150 on like prowrestlingboots.com. I think I still have them somewhere in my storage unit. It's been that long. It's been like 10 years ago. Jeez. But they were cheap boots, but I love them. I love them. They were my wrestling boots. And, I couldn't afford good gear, and I didn't really like know what I wanted to do and who I really wanted to be. Hank Flanders was just like a concept. I was doing what I took me and put it on, TV, not TV, but it put it out to an audience. And that's who I used to spit in the audience. Right. I would never do that now. Not because I don't want to, it's just that's what I could do at the time. You know what I mean?
Wouldn't that be considered like cheap heat?
Right now, I consider it I don't blame myself because I was just really starting out and I'm just I'm doing anything to get a rise. And the thing is when I started doing it, did you notice other wrestlers started to they all started doing it? Yeah. They all started spit. I never really would spit directly at people. I would spit up in the air. Right. And whoever it landed on was just whoever it landed on.
Yeah, I say that because I'm looking at, like I said, I looked at a lot of these guys, and you guys used to go through these eras where your backyard guys would take your gear and bring it to the schools. And
you can't. No, you have to grow up.
Yeah,
you got to grow up. I'm sorry, but you got to grow up. And the thing is, it's all right, you got to do what you can now, right? It's all right, cool. I got trash bag. There's a Facebook thing, a Facebook page going trash bag gear, trash bag wrestlers.
I think I remember.
Yeah, I remember. It was just these guys have, hey, listen, it's better if you bought eLucha gear for $20, $50. You got to start because there's at least when people are he looks terrible, but at least he's making an effort. You know what I mean?
Right.
At least he's making an effort. People notice listen, you got to. I remember when I started, when I was in construction. And I was wearing my leather jacket, you know what I mean, to work until I could afford a Carhartt. Now I wear Carhartt all the time, but I'm such a New York stereotype.
I know, right? You're very copy New York paste.
Copy New York paste. It's I got the New York white boy outfit on all the time. It's
the
Timbs, the shorts, the Carhartt jacket, and the backwards Yankee hat. And a Pantera shirt. You know what I mean? It's just I'm ordering the chopped cheese and get me my Lucy. No, I don't want a Newport Lucy.
No, what Lucy do you get?
That was the only thing available because they weren't opening their fucking Marlboro packs.
That's right.
They're not opening their Marlboro packs.
I thought you wanted a Pall Mall or one of those kind of.
Pall Mall. They're my Marlboros, baby.
There was one that my boy used to smoke. It was the one that it had a filter, but it had a weird filter in the back, like it was a triangle.
Oh no, okay.
Is that Parliament?
Yeah, Parliament. Oh. Well, yeah, it was Parliament. Oh, and they tasted like charcoal.
I used to be a smoker, cigarette smoker, and whenever I didn't have any, he would have Parliaments, and I would like, and if every time I said this would be the reason why I would stop smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, because they're so bad.
They're so horrible.
I didn't like Newports either.
You wasn't a menthol kind of guy?
No, I like Marlboro menthols.
When I started to wean myself off of cigarettes, I started smoking Cools.
Really?
Cools were a lighter version of Newports.
What was your brand? Oh, it was Newports?
Newports was my brand, but it's, it's the hood cigarette.
I'm sorry, that is
so what I used to do was I used to be a very heavy, and this is a conversation we had when the mic was off, but I used to be a big marijuana smoker, big weed smoker. And when I stopped, I picked up another fucking crutch, another vice, and that vice was cigarettes.
Weed is addictive, by the way, folks.
And in both instances, I quit cold turkey. I quit marijuana cold turkey, so I went cold turkey, and then when I picked up cigarette stuff down the line, I went cold turkey, but.
That's very interesting that you say that, and I don't want to cut you off.
No, that's fine.
Most people would go the other way. When they stop smoking cigarettes, they'll start picking up weed.
Yeah, no,
from my experience.
Yeah, no, I thought you were talking about this the cold turkey thing because I always tell people that when it came to that, it's all about rituals, especially with cigarettes. Everything's about rituals.
Yeah, you have a coffee or tea in the morning and then your cigarette.
After a meal, before you go into work, during a break. It's everything becomes a ritual. And I said that the toughest thing for people to understand is to break the ritual. That's all it is. And it takes about a week, but once you break the ritual, it's done. I remember I had
you have better willpower than most because a lot of people can't.
Yeah, I had gotten into I was already off of cigarettes maybe about 3 or 4 months. I got into an argument with my daughter's mother, and I went to the store and went and bought a Lucy. And I'm walking down the block smoking a cigarette, stressing. Oh, this is fucking gross. I don't know why I'm doing this. This is disgusting. Why am I even smoking? You know what? Fuck this.
It's like the alcoholic who doesn't want to drink.
Yeah.
Can't believe I'm drunk again.
Yeah. But so I say that because we were talking about, just commitments. And, I started to see that a lot of these up and coming wrestlers that you guys that are coming up these days, they're not ready to commit to finding or working on a gimmick. They're all looking. A lot of them are coming in with the anime fucking look. That's the one that's
popular now.
Yeah, that's the one that's really killing me these days. It's the anime guys, and I'm like, oh, okay,
because it's hard to find out who you are. Right? That takes a lot of hard work and self-reflection, as we spoke about before the mics got. I have a very personal thing going on right now, and self-reflection is very hard. When you look at yourself in the mirror and go, oh, I have nothing to, I think I have nothing to offer, or maybe you do have nothing to offer. And it's just like, I'll just be this. And sometimes people are very successful. There was an episode of, of Dark Side of the Ring about Magnum TA, you know what I mean? Like his look was based off of Tom Selleck's look in Magnum PI. Right. So, some people, Scott Hall, say hello to the bad guy, it's Scarface. But if you've watched any Scott Hall, God rest his soul, any of his documentaries, he wasn't a drug kingpin, but he was around the life enough to know how that life works, Plus, he was a party guy, and that's
I remember when he talked about pitching that idea. Vince had never seen Scarface before, so it was like a new. It gave him the easier way to get. And that gimmick.
It was so cool because he was doing that gimmick in a comic book. Well, the end of the comic book era, like the end of like the cartoony era. Like he was like the first quote unquote real him. Like Bret Hart was a real character. The Heartbreak Kid. Like these were like becoming real characters. Diesel, Diesel kind of fell into a character. Like he was like Mr. Cool, like he was Big Daddy Cool. You know what I mean? Like it took him a while.
He moved off from Vinny Vegas and then became
no. When he was Diesel, he wasn't Big Daddy Cool yet.
No,
like Big Daddy Cool, that was Diesel's gimmick. Like he was big. Like that's the thing when somebody pointed out this guy in Ireland who was like an actor and a wrestler and he knew a lot and. They talk about there's this promo that he does that Kevin Nash does and like he's trying to be angry and it's just not working. It's not him. Right. But if when he's chilling and he's cool and he's like, what does he really have to worry about? He's 7 foot tall. He's jacked and he's good looking.
He's more intimidating when he's not
because
angry.
He has I'm bigger than you. You know what I mean? Like that's his whole thing. It's like, dude, what are you gonna do to me? Like, really? Like, look how big I am.
It's funny you mentioned you don't listen to his podcast, right?
Every now and again. It's one of the best. It's one of the better wrestling podcasts. It's really great.
This past week, he's having a conversation with Sean, and Sean is playing this audio clip of this woman like really screaming and losing her mind at some kind of town hall or whatever. So I guess Sean Oliver wanted to isolate that woman screaming to use it as a drop on the show. And Kevin, and not being like I said, not being out of it. You all right over there?
No, something came up.
Not missing a beat. He turns and she goes, I'm not going to be able to listen to that. Anytime I hear it, I'm hearing somebody in pain, someone who's going through anguish. And he's just, without having to sound angry, he's sounding angry, but he's just doing it so laid back and cool. And I always thought that when Nash was that kind of guy, even in the ring, like I always found him more intimidating than when he was like screaming at somebody. It didn't really fit him because, like you said, he's that fucking 6'10", 305, 310, whatever he was coming in with. He didn't need to have all that. But when it comes to wrestlers these days finding themselves, did it become a long process for you when you started putting together what it is that?
No, because I'm always changing and evolving. You know what I mean? Like when I start wrestling full time, again, I'll change and evolve. Like there's some parts of Hank Flanders that I let go completely when I changed, especially when I was like, before I even changed the name. And it just wasn't it wasn't working, even though it was part of who I was. And it was like, I'm going to add this in, but it was like, I neglected everything else.
Right.
Something like I was supposed to be doing naturally. Like, all right, I wouldn't spit in the in the audience now because it's cheap, and maybe I wouldn't cut promos the same way, but I still know how to all right, what's the line, and I kind of want to walk that line, and that's the thing. You have to. Chris Jericho's right. You have to change. And you have to be comfortable with what you're doing, because Bret Hart. He was going to be Cowboy Bret Hart.
That's when he first came out of Stampede.
Yeah, Stampede. Yeah. And he was just like, I don't want to be a cowboy.
Right.
Because where I'm from, you really, to be a cowboy, you really have to be a cowboy. Do you remember, back in, the early 2000s? You've been in pro wrestling, I've been a fan forever, but do you remember back on the indie scene in the early 2000s? Every Puerto Rican dude had, the flag, their gear was just the flag.
It's the flag. Or they had the jumpsuits.
The jumpsuits, right? Mm-hmm. And every guy from the hood was like a hood guy,
bandana.
Like they always like had to do rag. Like they were always from the hood,
Mm-hmm.
and like, you know, the white dude was like the generic white dude. And I know
he's the Thrasher looking.
Yeah, like
guy.
he always looked like the Randy. It was the Randy Orton prototype. You know, like the flipped up hair at the front.
You're talking about that guy.
That prototype. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and you know, everybody kind of looked the same instead of like, all right, I'm going to try to be different because I'm trying to do what they want instead of what I want to do. And there's a risk in that, you know, it's like, oh, I'm going to do what I want to do. And sometimes what you want to do works because it's authentic. And sometimes what you want to do doesn't work because like you're trying to force a square into a round hole.
Right.
You can't do that. Right. Well, you can, but it's just like, there's only so many times it's like, it's going to work. And it's like, oh, it's not working. You have to feel genuine and they have to have fun with what you're doing.
But a lot of these guys don't really. I think there's a lot of fear that goes into it as well because a lot of them aren't able to play a character or play a role. You know, it's because they're not comfortable in doing that yet.
I don't think they're comfortable being themselves.
How many of us would have been able to do Adrian Adonis?
Adrian Adonis, the joke about Adrian Adonis is that like he was this pretty boy who clearly wasn't pretty.
And was legitimately a tough guy.
Yeah, but it was just like, I'm going to play this, like, it seems ridiculous that he's like wearing makeup.
Yeah.
You know, it seems like this is like, really him? This guy with this very thick New York accent and like, you know, it's just like, you know, I'm so pretty. Like, and it's just like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, it doesn't. And, you know, him being such a great worker, it's like, well, why is this working? It works because it's so ridiculous, right? It's so stupid, you know. It's so funny. It's so hilarious. You know what I mean? Like,
or when you look at when Dustin took the Goldust character, and it's like, how many people would have said, "I'll do it"? How many rest of the guys would have said, "I"?
Well,
I
also, like, I think he really wanted to get away from being the natural. Right?
Well, no, it from what story. I think I even remember from the documentaries for Dusty and
the recent
one where it was almost as though like if it was a rib.
No, it was like it clearly was a rib, but it was almost so much.
It's like Vince had this real agenda against Dusty and the family and shit, but
because Dusty's because Dusty, God rest his soul, was an executive, you know, and in a way, like if Vince had Dusty and Pat at the same time,
they would have been the most unstoppable machine.
Like there wouldn't be WCW,
right?
You know what I mean? Like, you know, they just wouldn't. Dusty knew money. You know what I mean? Like Dusty knew what was money. Dusty understood what most people don't. Dusty understood people,
right?
You know, and Dusty played his role. You know what I mean? Dusty wasn't, you know like The Rock going, know your role. I guarantee you was said to him somewhere backstage. A vet said to, know your role, shut your mouth. Someone said a vet probably said to him, he's like, yo, kid, know your role and shut your mouth.
Hey, he
took it to
TV. He got jabroni from Shiki, baby.
And he took it to TV and was just like, everybody's like, know your role. And it's true. Know your role and shut your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
You said it on TV and it's just like, wow, that's a pretty good, that's a pretty good catchphrase. And it's true. Just know your role, shut your mouth. Right. And people in any line of work, bro, you're like, not everybody could be Tom Brady. Sometimes guys lose jobs because they think they're Tom Brady.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some guys, not because they think they're like, while Tom Brady's on the team. You know, it's like Tom's like, it's humbling, but it's just like, yo, I'm just a running, like, be the best running back.
Yeah.
I know who Randy Moss is. You know what I mean?
Right.
I know who, Rob Gronkowski is. Ideally, I should know who Aaron Hernandez is for an entirely different reason.
Not because of what it is.
Not because of what it is. God rest his soul.
But no, I bring this up as well because you haven't been playing the new 2K game, right? No,
I haven't. I haven't seen. I haven't played it yet.
So in the My Rise this year for the male side, it's a character called the Lock, and it's really behind the scenes, tongue in cheek kind of presentation, but it's you coming in from the indies, coming into WWE, and it's them giving you a gimmick they want you to work with, and that your character is pushing back. You don't want to do that. You come in, you're named the Lock.
Hint,
Right. So your name's The Lock. You're wearing, you know, the fucking chain with the lock, with the lock on it, and you have gear, and you're not happy with it, and you give the pushback. And I saw it, like I said, it kind of coincides with, like I said, what I'm watching with the indie guys these days. Have you ever gone to certain, like a different promotion, and they wanted you to work another gimmick or wear something different? Or
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't compromise my integrity like that. But I remember early in my career, I was working with Smiley, and we didn't know any better. And this guy was just like, he has a mask on, and he wasn't Smiley yet, right? And
he was Aeroside.
He was Aeroside.
Yeah.
And some guy was just like, I don't even think he's in the business anymore, but he's just like, oh, I wear a mask. And it's just like, what? Now it's just like, yeah, okay, whatever. I don't give a shit if you wear it. Like he was really into himself. Like, there's investing in yourself, and then there's like, okay, bro,
you're marking for yourself.
Yeah, like, okay, there's an investment, and then there's that, because he had a blazer that airbrushed himself. He airbrushed himself on it, and it's like, and the thing is like why we're laughing at it, because ideally, like, if he let people laugh at him about it, he'd make money.
But he didn't.
Because he was like, I'm Phineas Fortune. That was his name, Phineas Fortune. And he made Smiley take off his mask.
I remember, and I don't think I'm talking on a turn. As a matter of fact, I know he'll probably like that I'm talking about him. Our boy Paulino, when he worked under the mask.
Yeah.
And he would always tell me, shout out to Paulie, what's up, boy? He worked under the mask, and he would tell me, yo, Jay, I hate wearing this mask. I hate being under this. I hate doing this. And I'm like, dude, you know how much fucking money you can print with that fucking gimmick?
God bless Paulie. We all told him that.
I said, do you know the fucking... I said,
you
can work?
Told him that.
I said, you could work, and dude, you would get fucking signings around the corner if you could fucking embrace this shit.
We all told him that. We're just like, yo, Paulie, you're talented. Paulie's talented.
He is.
He's talented. And it's just like, I learned a lot. You know, Paulie really helped me. It's just like, yo, embrace it. And he didn't want, like, and that's okay. Like,
it was money.
But the thing is he came up with it.
That's
what annoys me most, because it's just like, if someone saddled you with a mask that you didn't want to wear, that you weren't feeling comfortable with, was fine. It's just like, I'm learning here, as you know. I'm the bartender here at Happy Hour. I'm not partaking anymore.
Right.
And when you put that stuff down, is again, self-awareness, not character defects, but character attributes, like, or virtues, like patience, right? And when you have patience, things seem to just fall into place when you have patience.
Right.
When you're impatient, and maybe that was his issue. I don't know. You have to ask him that. But we all told him that, like, yo, you can make mad money. You know, it's a bunch of money, like a boatload of fucking money, you know, doing what he was doing.
When he invested a little bit more money, it made the mask a little bit more easier to work. I know one of his biggest gripes is that I hate it because of the breathing on it. But then he made the adjustments. He had different looks for the mask. And I was like, dude, this shit is fucking... my daughter, Sally, used to like to see him come to... She'd get excited that he was coming to the ring. She was little at the time. Yeah. And I said, dude, you don't know, fucking the kids are running crazy to go see Fandom. Like, come on.
Exactly. And
like, shit.
Maybe he'll
look at Smiley. Smiley took the whole thing.
But that was like, but the thing, why we called him Smiley, because he always smiled.
Yeah.
He always smiled. And the thing is like, I kind of want to wear a mask. And he was like, and he has such a crazy hybrid style. Smiley's one of the best. Like, he should be, you know,
I've said it
I can't say enough about Smiley. And I've always like somehow had my best matches with him. They were never on tape, which is ironic.
Wow.
And because I always worked really well with him. And it's just like and the ideas and the gear, like he came was so cool. Like speak about a creative guy. Like me, like I'm good with colors.
Right.
You know, like you've seen my recent gear, like I'm good with colors and inspirations. Like I'm a fan. right? At the end of the day. So it's just like, all right, like the next one will be Bret Hart, or the next one will be like, oh, can we get the Appetite for Destruction colors in? Right. Or it's like, hey, can we like do a Master of Puppets theme? Or like, you know, oh, I remember Power Slave, like let's let the blue and they like, you know, it's like, can we do that? You know, like that's me, you know, but other people are like, you know, their gear. Gear is so important because it's a giant comic book.
Well, is it because that people don't realize that they have to spend money?
Without a doubt.
And also spend money.
But you spend money to make money.
Right.
And the thing is your gear has to explain something about you. And the thing is somebody told me about music one time, and music is such a huge part of just my character as me, not even forget Hank, you know, just me as a human being, Hank, whoever you want to call me. Music is so important to me, and I would change my song every time, which would annoy a person that we know to no end.
Right.
You know, would it annoy him? And he was like,
yeah, you told me that you wanted to change it every time you came out.
Yeah, and he's just like, dude, we need a song where people know you. And I was just like, no, because it's like, it's annoying. It's annoying that I change my song every time. It's annoying. You know, my entrance is so important.
You're a heel. You should have
it's annoying.
It starts, like you said, the match starts when you're coming out.
Yeah, and someone was just like, I remember one time, like I let the music go on so long and it started to annoy the promoter. I was like, no, trust me. And he did, you know, and it worked because it was just like, oh, Hank made us wait this. I remember that time.
Yeah.
It was during my last match with Nick. It was a Guns N' Roses song. And it was like a minute and a half till like the words came. And like, I think Gangone was like, oh, look at him, the big star. Like, the big star. And I was just like, dude, yeah. Like, I got to treat myself that way. Right. And it was like, dude, like, all right, cool. We want to see some wrestling. Like, if I wanted to go see Guns N' Roses, I go see Guns N' Roses. But once I came out, people were like,
right,
man, like
it's true. Like, I would have, the way you said it, like I would have liked to see, and I kind of think about you like that way now that we're talking, that I would have liked to see you have done it, which you probably danced around it without even knowing it, but done a little bit more like it's like an Andy Kaufman kind of wrestler. You ever seen him when he does the bit where he says he's gonna sing the theme to Mighty Mouse?
Yeah.
And he plays the record, and the record is playing. He's just standing there. The guy's singing the theme, and the only part that he'll mouth is "Here I come to save the day," and he'll go right back and just stand there and let the guy sing the rest of the song. That's the kind of thing I could see you do, where you like ribbing the audience that way.
Yeah, like, and plus the music to me, I was just like, all right, so. When I worked Sonya the last time, I did the national anthem because then I went into the Trump gimmick.
Right.
Right. And that was like, hint, hint, like this is what's coming.
Right.
Right. What was I do? I was a trash, I was this white trash loser. You know what I mean? And I came out to white trash, you know what I mean? Like, and I treated her like a white trash loser. He was like, hey, I called her mommy on purpose. Right. Like, not the way like Dom's calling her mommy. It's like, it was like, yeah, make me a sandwich,
Right. Get in the kitchen,
and it worked, and I was like, all right, cool. And I used to say, I did not make Sonya Strong. Sonya Strong's a very talented young woman.
She's actually making her return.
Yeah, good for her. Good for her. She deserves it. And, she made me, and, everything goes together. I remember Jake the Snake Roberts. He had gear the last time he worked Rick Rude, and it led right into, and this is how easy back then I guess the writing was, because he transitioned right into a program with Andre, because they were like the Heenan, he was ideally feuding with the Heenan family, Jake, right, where everybody was feuding with the Heenan family. So at the end, one of the greatest finishes I've ever seen is when he goes for a shot. Rude bends over and then he catches him with the DDT. He's like, he's already there.
Yeah.
It was so great. But his gear was so good because he had a rat on one side in a robe and a snake on the other side going to eat him. Because what do snakes eat?
Yeah,
snakes eat rats.
Right.
And the rat's in the robe. And the whole story was like, it was like a man, trying to hit on my wife.
Right.
And which is always a great one of the great storylines in pro wrestling is always like, somebody's wife involved. So for example, wrestling doesn't need to be complicated, right? We make it more complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Stories like brothers, Undertaker and Kane, very easy story. You know what I mean? Like wanting to chase a title, very easy story.
Mm-hmm.
Love, very easy story. Kurt Angle hit on Triple H's wife back in the 2000s. Remember that? It was one of my favorite storylines.
Mm-hmm.
And it turned Triple H into a face.
Right.
Triple H was one of the most horrible characters in television.
He was loathed by many.
Loathed by many. So much so that my brother to this day, he's like, his arrogance and just came through the screen. It was just like him being the fact that like, oh, I'm screwing the boss's daughter. I can do whatever I want. It like came through the screen. It was like, yeah, he was great. He was doing his job. Right. But it turned him into a baby face, no matter how bad he was, because every man understands that, all right, we know he's a piece of shit, but part of the reason he's a piece of shit is because he's doing it for his lady.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of likes that he's a piece of shit. And if somebody was trying to take my lady, I'm becoming a bad person to keep my lady around, and someone's trying to take my lady, I'd be like, I have to cheer for this dude.
Yeah.
Like this sniveling snake. We don't care that he's an Olympic. And then like, oh, we're just friends. Like it's an easy storyline because we all know, we've all had, especially if you've been in love with a woman, as we spoke about before the mics got hot, some dude that you don't really like, why is this dude calling you? Oh, he's just a friend. Yeah. All right. Yeah. And then it's just like, I remember one promo was so great, and I know it's Pride Month, but back then, geez, like there was no wine. Yeah. And he goes to Kurt, and it's just like he goes, "Yeah, you want to be friends with a beautiful young woman like Stephanie? Yeah, you want to be friends?" He's like, "I understand, Kurt. You want to be friends with Stephanie? So you'll probably go pick out drapes with Stephanie soon, Maybe you'll go get your nail, he's insinuating that he's like, oh, you want to be friends with, you want to be friends with a beautiful young woman? Like, then you must be gay. Like,
yeah, he's alluded to
must be gay. Like, it's like, no, it's just like, then what is it? If you're not, you know what I mean? Like, just admit that you want to have sex with my girl.
Right.
And everybody, like, the thing is like, yeah, we want to cheer for this dude who's pointing out this scumbag, right? This doofus. Easy, relatable storyline. So everything has to tie together. Gear, story, it all has to tie together. And if you don't want to invest in yourself, in gear, in your story, then there's no point in me watching.
Yeah, I'm thinking about this kid that's out there. He's Encore.
Yeah,
Encore's a kid. He's pretty fresh in the business, maybe about 3 years.
He's very talented.
Yeah, 3 years in, and you see his investment. The kid wrestles in a $400 belt. Like, seriously. And
you know what that means? People will take him seriously.
Right. And the gear, the work, the look, and a lot of kids, bless you. Now, a lot of these kids coming up in the business aren't ready to do that or afraid, maybe fearful of doing that.
I was afraid.
Yeah. I'm not telling you to go wrestle in a $400 belt, but
no, but like there's something about you where it's like, I care about the way I look.
Right.
You know what I mean? I care. First thing Conor McGregor bought with his money was a suit. You know what I mean? Like, 3 people died pointing this watch. Like, 3 people died making this watch. You know what I mean? Like, that's the gimmick. It's just like, I dress like I want to be a champion. I'm going to dress like a champion.
Right.
Dress the part.
Yeah. I even look at Charles Mason. The kid wrestles in a button down and in slacks. That can't be easy for you guys to ever want to wrestle like that.
I would never want to wrestle. I don't like wrestling in jeans.
Yeah, but for him to do that, that's tough.
I wrestled in jeans once.
Yeah,
it's like no, like it's tights all the way.
God rest his soul, man. Matt Travis. I remember having a conversation with him about his gear.
Guy wore a bulletproof vest.
He wore a bulletproof vest and wore trunks. He had trunks. So I go, I asked him, I said, that's a odd pairing to wear in the ring. And he's like, yo, it's easy to pack trunks, yo. I could pack like 5-6 of them and be on the road and have like 4 matches, 5 matches, and I don't have to worry about. I could put them in my pocket. I could have them everywhere, yo. I could have trunks. It's it's interchangeable. I could take them, soak them in the sink, and they'd be good in the morning. You know what I mean? So I was like, you know what? I get that, and I admired him for him being that young to have that mindset to like get in there.
My gear is heavy, bro. I'm at pretty, and as you've known, you know, nobody has to really chant at me eat a sandwich anymore.
Oh yeah, you're looking well.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I finally put something in my mouth and put it down my stomach.
Good.
And you know, so I'm a big dude. Like I forget that. Like, oh, when I eat, I become a big dude. Like I forget. Like when you're tall and skinny, it's like easy. It's like, oh, he's gangly. Now it's like I put on weight, and people are like, oh my god, he's a monster. He's huge.
Yeah.
Like people like I remember walking around one day. It's like, yo, you're a big man. I was like, no, I'm not, because I heard eat a sandwich for years, and it's like, dude, have you not seen you?
You say that live because, and it's some self praising on my end here. I've been going to the gym,
yeah. This is called Hank's Happy Hour.
I know, but I'll get to that. But I get that whole sense of feeling as well, because I have size on me, but now it's getting a little
tighter.
And you know, even the Will who was just here, he would say, he'll look at me and he'll go, "You're walking a little different now." He goes, "What are you talking about?" He says, "I don't know. Your back is your little back is a little straighter. Your head is a little bit held higher. Your shoulders seem a little bit more broader."
Yeah, because you're working out.
Yeah, and I'm like, "Really?" And I was like, "I didn't really notice that, but thanks." Like, I don't know if that's a compliment. I don't know what that is.
It's definitely a compliment.
Yeah, but yeah. So you like even that, like you just mentioned, hitting the gym. Like a lot of these guys don't understand, bro. Get in that. Get in there. What is it that Rick Rude always said? And it's like, no leg days. No one pays for legs. Nobody buys the tickets to see legs.
First of all, Rick Rude absolutely hit legs.
Yeah, he said that he says he don't hit legs, but so nobody pays for legs.
Nobody pay. You know what people pay for? Your arms, your chest, and your face.
Yep.
And your abs. Face, chest, arms, and I've been told I've had a pretty good looking face.
I thought you were going to talk about you have a caboose, because
I do not.
The ladies like the cabooses.
They do.
Well.
I have a small
derriere.
You would think I'm half Puerto Rican. You'd think I'd have a nicer butt, but I don't.
Nah, you got sold.
I got the Irish butt.
Yeah, you got sold a bill of goods on that one. You got sold a bill of goods.
I don't have goods.
A bill of goods.
I don't have the badonkadunk.
No, you got sold a thing. Wow, we're already an hour in. Jesus.
All right. Happy hour.
Yeah. So, but
listen,
I'm happy you're back.
Thank you. I'm taking a break on bookings for a little while.
Yeah.
For reasons that I don't want to say, but
not yet.
I will. I'm not done wrestling.
I know that.
Yeah, but right now, like, I can't afford to get hurt.
I know. I get it.
In front of 50 people.
I get it. But listen, when you make your triumphant return, as always, we will be here, and you'll. Like I said, the door is always open.
No, I know that, but it's just like, thanks for keeping me in the industry in one way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And, I will be back very, very soon, folks.
And where they could get you at, as always?
G. Hank Flanagan at Twitter. Good Hank Flanagan on Instagram, and Hank Flanagan on Facebook.
All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up this week. And as always, my guy stops in. We actually went through a whole segment without veering off course way to different avenues. We actually stood the line this time around. So, guys, don't go anywhere. Stick around. We might have more to talk about. Who knows? See you guys in a sec.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff.
Turnbuckle Tabloid.